Imagine looking up at the night sky and realizing that everything you see, every glittering star, every faint nebula, is just a tiny part of something far greater. For centuries, humanity has stared into the heavens, believing the stars were fixed, eternal, perhaps even divine. But what if I told you that every star, every fragment of light, is being pulled together by a single colossal heart? A heart that beats in silence, hidden at the very center of our galaxy. The Milky Way is not just a scattering of stars across the sky. It is a vast, spinning whirlpool of matter, dust, and time itself. And at its core lies a force so powerful it bends reality, a monster lurking in the dark, a supermassive black hole known as Sagittarius A. Yet our story does not begin there. To journey into the heart of the Milky Way, we must first understand the sheer scale of what we are entering. Imagine a city so large that it spans an entire continent, where every light is a star and every street is a spiral arm. That is our galaxy, a barred spiral stretching 100,000 light-years across, home to hundreds of billions of suns, and somewhere on a fragile little planet orbiting one of those stars, we stand, tiny observers daring to unravel the secrets of a cosmic empire we can barely comprehend. But here's the paradox. Though we exist inside the Milky Way, though we are residents of its grand structure, we cannot see it fully. Like ants crawling on the skin of an elephant, we can only glimpse fragments. The dust, the gas, the sheer density of stars obscure our view. For thousands of years, civilizations looked up and saw only a ghostly band of light, the Milky Way's spine, stretched across the heavens. They told myths that it was the path of souls, the spilled milk of a goddess, the scar of creation itself. They were not entirely wrong. That faint glow is the combined light of billions of distant suns, whispering to us of a hidden structure far larger than anything the human mind was built to hold. So how do we dare to enter its core? The first challenge is distance. Our solar system resides in one of the Milky Way's spiral arms, about 27,000 light-years from the center. If the galaxy were a giant city, we would live out in the suburbs, far from the chaotic downtown. And yet, even from here, we feel its pull. Everything in our neighborhood orbits the galactic heart, completing a single lap once every 230 million years. Think about that. When Earth last occupied the same spot in its orbit, dinosaurs still ruled the planet, and the continents were arranged in a different shape. Our planet is forever dancing in a cosmic cycle far older than humanity itself. But what lurks in the center, pulling at us with such relentless gravity? For decades, astronomers debated this question. Some thought it might be a cluster of stars, others a dense ball of exotic matter. Then, in the late 20th century, scientists began to notice something strange. Stars near the galactic center moved at impossible speeds. Imagine watching a racetrack where the cars whip around corners at hundreds of kilometers per second, their paths distorted, their lives at risk of being torn apart. These stars, called the S-stars, were orbiting something invisible, something so massive that nothing could escape it, not even light. And thus the conclusion emerged: a black hole, millions of times the mass of our sun, lurking in silence. Its name? Sagittarius A star. But here's the twist. Black holes are not simply monsters, they are paradoxes. They devour, yet they also create. They tear apart matter, yet their gravitational grip shapes galaxies themselves. Without them, perhaps no galaxy would exist at all. Sagittarius A star may be a destroyer, but it is also the architect of the Milky Way. To journey into its heart is to step into the furnace of creation, into the place where time and space collapse into mystery. And yet, as we learn this, another question emerges. Why does the galaxy look the way it does? Spiral arms, stretching like the limbs of a great cosmic whirlpool, curve gracefully around the center. What sculpts them? Why do they not scatter like smoke in the wind? Astronomers suspect that density waves, ripples of gravity themselves, move through the galaxy, compressing gas and dust, triggering new stars to ignite. It is as if the Milky Way breathes, pulsing with waves of birth and destruction. We, our Sun, our Earth, are merely passengers caught in that endless tide. Still, mysteries remain. Some astronomers suggest that the Milky Way is cannibalistic, that its spiral arms are shaped not only by physics, but by violence. Look closely and you'll find streams of stars torn from smaller galaxies, remnants of cosmic collisions that happened millions of years ago. Our galaxy is not a peaceful island in the void. It is a predator, growing by devouring its neighbors. And deep in its core, Sagittarius A star waits, feeding on whatever dares to fall too close. But let's step closer. Imagine approaching the galactic center. From afar, the stars seem countless, but as you draw near, they become overwhelming. The density rises. What in our solar neighborhood might be a few stars spread across light years, here becomes a blinding cluster. If the night sky above Earth held the same density, it would shine brighter than daylight, filled with suns on every horizon. The darkness of interstellar space would be gone, replaced by an eternal blaze. And in the very middle, you would see nothing, just a void. The black hole, hidden by a shroud of gas and dust, its presence revealed only by the violence it causes. For in the end, that is the truth of Sagittarius A star. It is silent, invisible, unknowable. And yet it is the heart of our home, the unseen force around which every star, every world, every dream of humanity revolves. To journey there is not simply to explore space, it is to confront the ultimate paradox, that the center of our galaxy is both a graveyard and a cradle, a place where the laws of physics collapse, and perhaps where the story of everything we know began. But wait, what lies inside? What happens if one dares to cross the event horizon, that one-way boundary into eternity? Is it annihilation, or is it passage to another universe, another reality, another beginning? This is where science meets myth, where equations give way to imagination. And it is here, at the very edge of the black hole, that our journey truly begins.
What does it mean to approach a black hole? To us, it sounds like pure science fiction, a tear in the fabric of reality, a place where even light cannot flee. And yet, Sagittarius A star is real. It is not a metaphor. It sits at the heart of the Milky Way, shaping the destiny of billions of stars, including our own. To understand it, we must imagine what cannot be seen. We must step into the gravity well of the unimaginable. Picture a star, bright, ancient, 10 times the mass of our Sun, wandering too close to the black hole. At first, nothing seems wrong. It shines as it always has, casting its light across the void. But as it drifts nearer, its fate is sealed. The immense gravity of Sagittarius A star reaches out, twisting and stretching the star like clay in invisible hands. Astronomers call this spaghettification, the ultimate elongation, where even atoms are pulled apart. Streams of plasma erupt, spiraling around the black hole, forming a luminous accretion disk hotter than any furnace we know. For a brief moment, the dying star outshines the galaxy itself. Then, silence. It vanishes, consumed forever. But here is where the paradox begins. Though the star is gone, it is not entirely lost. Some of its energy escapes as X-rays, flares, and radiation. In other words, the black hole devours, but in its feast, it lights up the cosmos. Without this violent process, we would never know Sagittarius A star was there. It is invisible, and yet it betrays itself by the echoes of destruction it leaves behind. Astronomers in the 21st century achieved the impossible. They captured the first image of a black hole. Not Sagittarius A star at first, but its distant cousin in the galaxy M87, a glowing ring of fire surrounding a shadow darker than death itself. When the image of Sagittarius A star finally arrived, it looked eerily similar, a cosmic donut of doom, a portal framed by fire. And so the myths of gods and demons found new life. For thousands of years, humans imagined gateways to other worlds. Now, science shows us one, etched in reality itself. And yet, what lies beyond? To approach the event horizon is to confront relativity itself. Time slows. For the traveler plunging inward, the universe outside seems to race ahead, stars aging, galaxies colliding, epochs passing in seconds. But to an outside observer, the traveler never truly falls in. They linger at the edge, frozen in time, their light stretched into oblivion. The black hole does not just swallow matter, it swallows meaning, swallowing the very idea of before and after. What could exist in such a place? Some physicists whisper of wormholes, bridges to other universes. Could Sagittarius A star be not a dead end, but a doorway? Imagine that at the very core of the Milky Way lies a hidden passage, a cosmic artery connecting us to realms beyond comprehension. Is it madness to believe this? Perhaps. But then again, black holes themselves were once dismissed as fantasies. Now we know they sculpt galaxies. Perhaps one day we will discover they sculpt realities. And here is a chilling thought. If black holes connect universes, then maybe our own universe was born inside one. The Big Bang, that fiery origin, may not have been the beginning at all, but an escape, a new cosmos birthed from collapse. In that case, Sagittarius A star is not just the center of the Milky Way, it is a mirror, reflecting the very origins of existence. But our journey is not yet done. To reach the black hole, we must travel through the galactic center itself. Imagine it, a place so crowded with stars that night would never fall. Giants and dwarfs, supernova and pulsars, all dancing to the tune of gravity's drum. At the heart of this chaos lies Sagittarius A star, wrapped in dust and gas, veiled in mystery. It is the beating core of a celestial labyrinth. Yet danger lurks here. Clouds of gas thousands of times the mass of Earth race around, colliding, compressing, sparking bursts of star formation. In one region, known as the Arches cluster, stars form in furious numbers, burning fast, living short, destined to explode. To enter this realm would be to step into an ocean of fire, radiation so intense it would strip atoms from your very bones. This is no place for fragile life. And yet, it is a crucible of creation, the very workshop of stars. And still, questions haunt us. Why does the black hole sit silent now, faint compared to its more violent cousins in distant galaxies? Has it fed already, growing fat on the remains of ancient stars? Or is it waiting, hungry for its next meal? Some scientists believe it is dozing in a kind of cosmic slumber. But when it wakes, when it feeds again, the galaxy will tremble. Could such an eruption threaten us, even here in our quiet suburban arm of the Milky Way? Or would it merely be a spectacle, a fireworks show written in X-rays and gamma bursts? The truth remains uncertain, a shadow on the horizon of knowledge. And so we approach, step by step, thought by thought, into the center of our galactic home. From the myths of ancient peoples to the equations of Einstein, from the glow of the Milky Way across our night sky to the invisible monster that lies at its heart. We are driven by one unshakable desire: to know, to look into the darkness and ask what lies beyond, to risk being consumed just to catch a glimpse of eternity. But now the story takes a turn, for Sagittarius A star is not alone. Black holes may lurk everywhere in the galaxy, silent companions to the stars, waiting in the dark. What if the heart of the Milky Way is not singular, but crowded? What if in the depths of its core, multiple black holes are circling, colliding, merging in violent dances of unimaginable force? And if they are, what happens when they finally meet?
What if Sagittarius A star is not the only beast at the heart of the Milky Way? For decades, astronomers wondered whether other black holes could lurk near the center, hidden in the density of stars. The idea sounds terrifying: a city of monsters, each devouring, each bending space itself. And yet, recent evidence suggests this may not just be speculation. Imagine thousands of stellar mass black holes, remnants of massive stars long gone, spiraling into the galactic core over billions of years. Gravity pulls them inward like stones settling at the bottom of a lake. They cluster around Sagittarius A star, forming a swarm of darkness, an invisible congregation of the dead. If true, the galactic center is not just home to one black hole, but to thousands, a graveyard of collapsed suns, all circling the ultimate predator. And if two of these black holes meet, the consequences are unimaginable. They spiral around one another, faster and faster, until the very fabric of space-time begins to ripple. These ripples, known as gravitational waves, race across the universe, distorting space itself as they go. For most of history, such waves were only a theory. Then, in 2015, humanity heard them for the first time. A faint vibration in the detectors of LIGO, caused by two black holes merging a billion light-years away. It was the sound of the universe speaking, the sound of monsters colliding. Could it be that deep within the Milky Way, such collisions are happening now, hidden from our eyes? Could our galaxy itself be ringing with gravitational music, inaudible but eternal? And yet, here lies a darker thought. What happens if Sagittarius A star collides with another supermassive black hole? It sounds absurd, impossible, but galaxies collide all the time. In fact, the Milky Way itself is destined to merge with our nearest neighbor, the Andromeda Galaxy, in about 4 billion years. When that happens, their central black holes will be drawn together in a cosmic ballet of destruction. Two hearts of darkness circling, spiraling, and finally merging into one titanic monster. The shock waves will ripple across the cosmos, the shape of the new galaxy will be rewritten, and our solar system, if it survives at all, will be cast adrift in a new, alien sky. But even before that cosmic collision, mysteries stir in the galactic core. Strange objects have been spotted, bizarre clouds of gas and dust moving in ways that defy explanation. One of them, known as G2, was expected to be torn apart when it drifted dangerously close to Sagittarius A star. Astronomers prepared for fireworks, flares, eruptions, the black hole feasting before their eyes. But when the moment came, nothing happened. G2 passed unharmed, as though shielded by something we do not yet understand. Was it a simple gas cloud, or something stranger? Perhaps a star cloaked in dust, hiding its true nature. Once again, the black hole kept its secrets. And here lies the heart of the mystery. Sagittarius A star is quieter than it should be. For a supermassive black hole, it is strangely subdued. In other galaxies, the centers blaze with light, feeding black holes blasting jets of radiation across millions of light years. But ours? Silent, sleeping. Why? Could it be that we live in a rare lull, a calm between storms? Or is there something unique about our galactic heart, something we have yet to comprehend? Some researchers whisper that this very quietness may have allowed life to evolve on Earth, that if our black hole were more active, the blasts of radiation might have sterilized our planet before life ever began. Is it possible that the silence of Sagittarius A star is the reason we exist at all? And still, we are drawn to it. Across history, civilizations placed their myths in the heavens. To the ancient Maya, the dark rift in the Milky Way was the mouth of the underworld, a place where souls journeyed after death. To the Greeks, the Milky Way was the milk of Hera, spilled across the sky in fury. To the Australian Aboriginal peoples, the dark bands of the galaxy were emu tracks guiding hunters. Each culture sensed something profound, that the center of the Milky Way is more than just stars. It is a passage, a threshold, a secret hidden in plain sight. Now modern science confirms what ancient myth suspected. The center is indeed a portal of sorts, though not in the way we dreamed. It is a place where the normal rules of space and time no longer apply, a place where matter vanishes, where light bends, where causality itself falters. To journey there is to journey to the edge of understanding, to peer not only into the center of the galaxy, but into the abyss of knowledge itself. And perhaps this is why the heart of the Milky Way fascinates us so deeply, because in it we see a mirror of our own fears and hopes, the fear of annihilation, of being swallowed by forces beyond control, the hope of transcendence, of gateways to other realms, of beginnings hidden inside endings. Sagittarius A star is both. It is the destroyer and the dreamer, the grave and the womb. It is literally the heart of everything we call home. But we are not finished yet. For to truly grasp the journey to the center, we must also understand the road that leads us there. The spiral arms, the clusters of stars, the streams of debris left from galactic cannibalism. All these are part of the story. Our Milky Way is not a static painting, but a living organism shaped by violence and time. And as we push toward its heart, we must confront the question that haunts every corner of the cosmos. Is there more? More life? More intelligence? Could something or someone be waiting near the center, watching as we stumble closer, like moths drawn to a fire? It is here, between myth and science, between terror and wonder, that the true story begins to unfold. For the journey to the heart of the Milky Way is not just a voyage through space. It is a voyage into the unknown and into ourselves.
What if the Milky Way itself is alive? Not in the way a human breathes or a heart beats, but alive in its cycles, its endless rhythm of creation and destruction. When you look at the spiral arms stretching across the sky, you see not fixed patterns, but waves, ripples of density sweeping through space. These ripples compress clouds of gas, ignite the birth of stars, and leave behind supernovae and black holes in their wake. It is as though the galaxy inhales and exhales across millions of years, a cosmic lung breathing fire and dust. Our sun, too, was born of this process. About 4.6 billion years ago, a cloud of hydrogen collapsed in the arm of the galaxy, perhaps triggered by a nearby supernova. Within this nursery, the sun lit its first flame, and around it the planets formed, tiny companions in the endless void. That is the truth. We are children of the Milky Way, shaped from its dust, animated by its rhythms. When we look up at the galactic band at night, we are looking at our own reflection, written in starlight. But the road inward is long. To reach the galactic center, one must cross regions unlike anything we know. There are ancient star clusters, where suns billions of years old gather in tight spheres. Some of these clusters, like 47 Tucanae, contain hundreds of thousands of stars packed so closely that if Earth were there, the night sky would glow with thousands of suns, brighter than any moonlit night. These are the fossils of the galaxy, relics from its earliest days, orbiting like pearls around the center. As we journey closer, we encounter streams, rivers of stars pulled from other galaxies. For the Milky Way is a predator. It has swallowed countless smaller galaxies across its history, ripping them apart, scattering their stars into tidal tails that still stretch across the heavens. The Sagittarius dwarf galaxy, one of our current victims, is slowly being consumed, its stars added to the halo of our own. And so the heart of the Milky Way is not merely ours. It is built from the bones of galaxies long gone. We are the inheritors of a cannibal's feast. This raises a chilling question. Is the Milky Way unique, or is every galaxy a predator? Everywhere we look in the universe, we see collisions, mergers, streams of shredded stars. Creation and destruction are inseparable. Galaxies grow only by devouring, and in every case, at the center, there waits a black hole, the hidden king that claims the throne of gravity. Perhaps this is the ultimate law, that no galaxy survives without a monster at its core. But let us go further. As we near the central bulge, the stars grow denser, the chaos greater. Here, red giants swell, ancient and bloated, nearing the ends of their lives. White dwarfs glow faintly, the cold embers of suns long extinguished. Neutron stars spin like lighthouses, their beams sweeping the void in pulses. And then there are the wanderers, the rogue planets, cast adrift by violent gravitational encounters. Imagine a world of ice, drifting in eternal night, pulled toward the galactic center with no star to call home. There may be billions of such planets, lost children of the Milky Way, each carrying unknown stories, unknown possibilities. Could some of them harbor life in hidden oceans beneath their frozen shells? Could they be seeds of biology waiting for new suns? The galaxy teems with possibilities we cannot yet imagine. And yet every path leads inward to that hidden gravitational abyss. The bulge itself is crowded beyond comprehension. If we lived there, the night sky would never be dark. Thousands of stars would blaze so brightly that constellations would be impossible. The Milky Way would not be a faint band. It would be an endless fire, a sky of eternal day. For us, such light would mean destruction, radiation, heat, chaos. But for the galaxy, it is simply life. The furnace of creation burns brightest where the danger is greatest. Still, one question haunts us. What lies at the very center, beyond Sagittarius A itself? Some scientists propose something radical. Perhaps black holes are not the end of matter, but the beginning of something we cannot yet name. What if inside Sagittarius A lies not oblivion, but creation? Could it be that black holes are the seeds of universes, each collapse birthing a new cosmos with its own laws, its own stars, its own stories? If so, then the Milky Way is more than our home. It is part of a vast tree of realities, each branch sprouting from the heart of a black hole. Could we one day trace our lineage not just back to the Big Bang, but to the collapse of another universe, one long forgotten? And here, myth and science meet again. Ancient peoples told of cosmic eggs, worlds hatching from darkness. They imagined doorways to other realms, gods born from chaos. They may not have known equations, but they sensed a truth hidden in symbols. Perhaps the black hole is indeed such a doorway, a womb cloaked as a tomb. Perhaps the heart of the Milky Way holds not death, but rebirth. But here is the danger. Our journey is not one of imagination alone. One day, our descendants may need to venture closer.
Stars do not last forever. Our sun will die in 5 billion years, expanding into a red giant before collapsing into a white dwarf. Humanity, or whatever evolves from us, will need to find a new home. Will we wander to other stars, or dare to approach the galactic center, searching for energy, for knowledge, perhaps for a way to escape the fate of dying suns? The heart of the Milky Way may not only be a mystery, it may be a destination. And still, questions pile upon questions. Why is our galaxy shaped as it is? Why is Sagittarius A quiet? Why do black holes exist at all? Each answer leads only to deeper mysteries, as if the universe itself resists our attempts to solve it. The closer we come to the heart, the more it hides, cloaked in dust, cloaked in paradox. Perhaps this is the final truth, that the heart of the Milky Way is not meant to be solved, but experienced. Not meant to be conquered, but respected. And yet, we cannot look away, for in that darkness, in that silence, in that hidden abyss, we sense something greater than ourselves, something eternal, something that whispers, "Come closer." The deeper we travel into the Milky Way, the more the familiar dissolves. Out here in our spiral arm, space feels empty, tranquil, almost serene. But in the galactic center, tranquility is an illusion. There, stars whip around the black hole at speeds unimaginable, some racing at thousands of kilometers per second, so fast they could travel from Earth to the Moon in less than a minute. Imagine standing on a planet in such a place. Your sky would be a blur, stars streaking like comets across the heavens. Night would never be still. Time itself would feel unstable, as though the cosmos were vibrating with urgency. Astronomers have tracked these racing suns with precision, mapping their orbits like detectives reconstructing a crime. Each orbit tells the same story. There is something colossal at the core, invisible yet irresistible. It cannot be stars, for stars would scatter or explode under such force. It cannot be gas, for gas would collapse or radiate. The only answer left is the one Einstein hinted at, reluctantly, decades ago: a singularity, a black hole, a well of gravity so deep that nothing escapes, and at the heart of our galaxy, that well is 4 million times the mass of the Sun. Yet here lies the enigma. Why 4 million? Why not smaller or larger? In other galaxies, we see black holes with billions of solar masses. Ours seems modest by comparison, a giant but not a titan. Could this be part of a pattern? Do galaxies grow their black holes as they evolve, like living creatures fattening with age? And if so, what stage of life is the Milky Way in? Youthful, mature, or already beginning its decline? Perhaps Sagittarius A star is not the end of our galaxy's story, but merely a chapter, one heartbeat in a saga that spans eons. But there is another question, more chilling still. Does the black hole know we are here? Not in the way humans know, with thought or awareness, but in the way gravity feels, in the way it pulls. Everything we are, every orbit, every life is bound to its presence. In a sense, we are already inside its grasp, already residents of its empire. The stars are its subjects, we are its subjects. And though it slumbers now, silent and subdued, it rules us still. Like a king unseen, it exerts its will across the galaxy, whether we acknowledge it or not. Yet humanity dares to imagine more. We send radio waves into the void, signals of curiosity, whispers of existence. SETI listens for echoes, hoping to hear the voice of another civilization. But what if those voices, if they exist, are drawn toward the galactic center too? What if the heart of the Milky Way is not only the center of gravity, but the center of destiny, a meeting point, a place where advanced civilizations gather, seeking the ultimate answers? Could Sagittarius A star be not only a monster, but a beacon, a cosmic lighthouse guiding the curious toward the same abyss. It is not impossible. Already, strange structures have been observed in the galactic core, massive clouds of gas shaped in ways that seem unnatural, filaments of energy twisting like cosmic sculptures. Most likely they are the work of magnetism, radiation, and gravity. But what if they are more? What if the heart of the Milky Way is also a library, a temple, a place where knowledge is stored in ways beyond our comprehension? Could the black hole itself be the greatest archive of all, a vault containing the information of everything it has ever consumed? Matter may vanish, but information, perhaps not. Some physicists believe black holes hold on to it on their surfaces like hieroglyphs etched into the skin of eternity. If so, then Sagittarius A star is not only destruction, but memory, the memory of the galaxy itself. And if we could unlock that memory, imagine reading the history of every star ever swallowed, every planet ever lost, every fragment of matter that crossed the horizon. It would be the ultimate chronicle, a record of billions of years, written not in books, but in the very fabric of space-time. Could humanity one day learn to read this script? Could we stand at the edge of the black hole and peer not into darkness, but into the library of forever? If so, then the journey to the heart of the Milky Way is not just a quest for survival, it is a quest for knowledge, knowledge so vast it would redefine what it means to exist. But there is danger in such ambition. The closer we come, the more fragile we become. Cosmic rays stream from the galactic center, invisible daggers that could rip through DNA, sterilizing life in moments. Gamma-ray bursts, the death screams of massive stars, can annihilate entire worlds in a flash. To approach the core is to walk into a battlefield where creation and destruction wage endless war. And yet, is that not the destiny of explorers? To risk annihilation for the chance of revelation? The first humans who left Africa risked deserts and predators for the unknown. The first sailors risked storms and oceans for horizons unseen. Now we risk the stars themselves, drawn by a question older than time: what lies at the heart? And perhaps the most unsettling answer is this: maybe the heart is not for us. Maybe it is not a destination, but a warning, a reminder that not everything can be known, not everything can be conquered. The Milky Way may be telling us a story older than humanity itself, that the center is a place of endings, a place where arrogance meets its doom. And yet, we cannot resist. We are creatures of curiosity. We stare into the dark not because it welcomes us, but because it defies us. And so the journey continues. Across billions of years, stars fall, galaxies merge, civilizations rise and crumble. And always at the center, the black hole waits, silent, eternal, patient. Like a riddle that never answers, like a door that never opens, it lures us closer, one thought at a time. Perhaps one day, humanity will stand on the very edge, staring into the event horizon, knowing that to step forward is to vanish forever. And perhaps in that moment, we will find the courage to fall, not out of despair, but out of hope. Hope that beyond destruction lies revelation. Hope that the heart of the Milky Way holds not death, but truth. The Milky Way hides its secrets well. For centuries, the dust lanes and gas clouds at its center kept us blind, like curtains drawn over a stage. But technology is our torch in the darkness. Infrared telescopes pierce the dust, revealing stars once invisible. Radio waves map the spirals of gas. X-ray observatories detect the flares of matter torn apart. Piece by piece, the veil is lifting, and the play unfolding is more dramatic than anyone imagined. At the center, near Sagittarius A star, lies a maelstrom. Imagine storms larger than solar systems, magnetic fields twisting like titans in combat, shock waves rippling through gas clouds. It is a place where physics is stretched to its limits, where forces we barely understand sculpt the cosmos. To human eyes, it would look like chaos, but to the galaxy, it is order. Each burst of radiation, each collapsing cloud, is part of the cycle, the endless wheel of birth and death. And yet, in this chaos, there is beauty beyond measure. The galactic center is home to some of the most exotic objects in the universe. Pulsars, rapidly spinning neutron stars, emit beams of energy like cosmic lighthouses. Magnetars, their magnetic fields trillions of times stronger than Earth's, unleash storms that defy imagination. There are stars so massive they will live only a few million years before dying in catastrophic supernovae, leaving behind black holes to join the swarm. To stand here, if one could survive it, would be to stand in a cathedral of extremes, where the pillars are stars and the hymn is sung in radiation. But what of life? Could anything survive in such a place? At first glance, the answer seems obvious. No! The radiation is lethal, the environment hostile, the conditions chaotic. And yet, life is resilient. We have found microbes on Earth living in volcanic vents, under crushing pressures, even feeding on radiation itself. If life can thrive in our planet's harshest corners, why not in the galaxies? Could there be forms of life adapted to the galactic center? Creatures that bathe in X-rays as we bathe in sunlight, that see magnetic fields as we see colors? Perhaps they exist not as flesh, but as plasma, patterns of energy, minds woven from the storms themselves. If so, then the heart of the Milky Way may not be empty, it may be alive in ways we cannot yet imagine. And here lies the greatest hook of all. If such life exists, could it be older, wiser, more advanced than us? The galactic center is ancient, its stars billions of years old. Civilizations could have risen there long before Earth's first bacteria ever stirred. If they survived the violence, they would be unimaginably advanced. What would they know of the black hole? Would they worship it, fear it, or use it? Could they harness its energy, manipulating space-time itself? The thought is staggering, and yet, if such beings exist, perhaps they already know of us. Perhaps they watch as we send our faint signals into the void, as we edge closer to the truth they mastered eons ago. But if so, why have they not spoken? Perhaps the answer lies in the nature of the black hole itself. Sagittarius A star could be a boundary, a test. To survive near it is to prove resilience. To approach it is to prove curiosity. Perhaps civilizations that make it far enough to stand at its edge are given a choice, to fall or to turn back. Maybe the silence we hear is not the absence of others, but the echo of their choice. They chose the plunge, leaving only the riddle behind. And so we must ask ourselves, what will we choose? Humanity is still young, still fumbling in the dark. We have only just learned to leave our planet, to step into the ocean of stars, and yet already we dream of the center. Perhaps it is written in us, encoded in our very atoms, born from the dust of the Milky Way itself. Like salmon returning to their birthplace, perhaps we are destined to return to the heart, to confront the place from which our story began. But here lies another danger. The journey is long. Even at light speed, it would take 27,000 years to reach Sagittarius A star. No ship we build could carry a crew that far in a single lifetime. And yet, humanity dreams of solutions. Generation ships, where thousands live and die on the voyage, their descendants arriving at the destination. Cryogenic sleep, freezing bodies for millennia. Or something stranger, digital minds, consciousness uploaded into machines that endure the centuries. Perhaps by the time we reach the center, we will not be human as we are now. Perhaps we will be something new, forged for the journey, reborn for the abyss. And when we arrive, what then? Will we fall into the black hole, seeking answers in oblivion? Or will we orbit it, studying, learning, extracting knowledge from its silent memory? Could we harness it, as some theorists suggest, using the energy of matter spiraling inward to power civilizations for millions of years? The black hole may not just be a monster, it may be the ultimate engine, the heart of a machine greater than any we can build. But every step toward that future begins with questions, and the questions only multiply the closer we get. Does the black hole end everything or begin everything? Does it erase information or preserve it? Is it singular or connected to countless others across the multiverse? Each theory is a thread, and all threads lead to the same place, the horizon, that invisible boundary where answers vanish and mystery reigns. And yet, we cannot turn away. For in the end, the journey to the heart of the Milky Way is the journey of humanity itself. From the first spark of curiosity in a prehistoric cave to the telescopes that now gaze across the stars, we have always been drawn to the unknown. The black hole is the ultimate unknown. To understand it is to understand ourselves, our place, our fate. And so we continue, step by step, thought by thought, pulled by gravity we cannot escape. Gravity not only of mass, but of mystery. And perhaps, in the end, that is what the black hole is. Not merely a cosmic phenomenon, but a symbol of the human spirit. Silent, powerful, unknowable, yet irresistible. A heart that beats in darkness, calling us closer, daring us to listen. Imagine drifting closer still, through a sea of stars so dense that space itself seems to glow. In our part of the Milky Way, stars are like scattered campfires across an endless desert. But near the galactic center, they are street lamps in a city, crowding, pressing against each other in their billions. Here, night would never be dark. It would be a furnace of light, a storm of gravity, a place where silence gives way to chaos. And within that chaos, there is order. The stars orbit Sagittarius A star, like dancers circling a silent conductor. Some follow wide, slow paths, taking centuries to complete a lap. Others are flung into close, reckless orbits, whipped around in mere years. One such star, called S2, completes its orbit in just 16 years, racing around the black hole at a speed of nearly 3% of light. To watch its journey is to witness physics in action, Einstein's equations made real. Each swing confirms what theory predicted. Space and time themselves bend under the weight of the black hole. Reality flexes, and the star obeys. But what happens to those stars that stray too close? Some are consumed whole, vanishing forever. Others are ripped apart, their matter spiraling into the accretion disk, glowing in their final moments. Still others are hurled outward, slingshotted at incredible speeds, becoming hypervelocity stars, runaways flung from the galaxy itself. Imagine a star, once nestled in the crowded heart, cast into the void between galaxies, burning alone for billions of years with no neighbors, no companions, no home. These stellar exiles are real, and they remind us of the violence hidden at the heart of beauty. And yet, not all violence is destruction. Some of it gives birth. Collapsing gas clouds in the galactic center ignite new stars, some of the largest ever observed. They live short, furious lives, burning with blinding brightness before ending in spectacular explosions. Supernovae erupt like galactic fireworks, seeding the region with heavy elements, carbon, oxygen, iron, the very ingredients of life. And so, even in the shadow of the black hole, life's recipe is forged. Death
feeds creation. Destruction paves the way for existence. Still, the black hole is not always quiet. Occasionally, it stirs, releasing flares of radiation brighter than 1,000,000 suns. These eruptions are brief, but they remind us of its hunger, its restless power. What causes them? Perhaps stars brushing too close? Perhaps gas clouds torn apart? Perhaps something stranger, objects we do not yet understand. The black hole speaks rarely, but when it does, the galaxy listens. And what of the myths? To ancient peoples, the center of the Milky Way was a place of power. The Mayas called it the Xibalba B, the path to the underworld. To others, it was the road of spirits, the bridge between worlds. Even now, those myths echo with truth. The galactic center is indeed a threshold, a liminal place where the rules of reality bend, and where endings and beginnings merge. It is a cosmic underworld, and like all underworlds, it demands a price for entry. But is it possible, just possible, that the galactic heart is not only myth and physics, but destiny? Consider this. Civilizations rise and fall across time. Some may never leave their planets, their stars, their neighborhoods of space. But others, the ambitious ones, may set their sights on the center. Why? Because it is the greatest challenge, the ultimate enigma. Perhaps advanced civilizations see the black hole not as a monster, but as a ladder, a tool, a test. If so, then the journey to the galactic center may be a pilgrimage undertaken not just by us, but by countless others before us, a rite of passage written into the cosmos itself. And if that is true, what might await those who succeed? Could the heart of the Milky Way be a meeting place, a crossroads where civilizations converge? Perhaps the silence we hear is not absence, but secrecy. Perhaps those who reach the center join a community we cannot yet imagine, hidden from our view, waiting for us to arrive. It is speculation, yes, but speculation born from the greatest unknowns. Still, the science alone is enough to dazzle. The galactic center is a laboratory, a place where nature performs experiments we could never recreate. Here, relativity and quantum mechanics collide, their contradictions laid bare. We do not yet understand how gravity and quantum theory fit together, but in the black hole's shadow, the answer may be waiting. To study it is to study the very foundation of reality. Perhaps one day, by understanding the center, we will finally unify the forces of the universe. Perhaps the key to the theory of everything lies not in a particle accelerator on Earth, but in the abyss at the heart of our home. But such knowledge is not free. To study the galactic center is to risk annihilation. Radiation, gravitational tides, cosmic storms, each one a hazard that could end us. And yet the danger does not deter. It never has. Humans scaled mountains knowing they could fall. We sailed oceans not knowing if land lay beyond. The galaxy is our next frontier, and its heart is the ultimate summit. To ignore it would be to deny who we are. Explorers, seekers, dreamers. And so the journey continues, across the spiral arms, past clusters and streams, into the bulge, into the core. Each step brings us closer to the horizon, the edge of knowledge, the edge of existence. The heart of the Milky Way waits, silent and patient. It has outlived empires, outlived stars, outlived the very elements of life. And still, it calls to us, its gravity, both literal and symbolic. For in the end, what is gravity if not longing, a pull, a yearning,
a desire to unite. Perhaps the black hole is not only the heart of the galaxy, perhaps it is the heart of the universe itself.
There is a question that echoes louder the closer we come to the galactic center. What if black holes are not the destroyers we imagine, but the architects of everything? For decades, astronomers assumed galaxies formed first, with black holes appearing later as byproducts. But new evidence suggests the opposite. Perhaps it was the black holes that formed first, seeds of darkness planted in the young universe, pulling matter around them, sculpting galaxies like potters shaping clay. If so, then Sagittarius A star is not simply the heart of the Milky Way, it is its parent, its creator, the silent force that gave birth to the very home we now inhabit. Think about that for a moment. Everything, our sun, our earth, the oceans, the trees, our very bodies exists because billions of years ago, a black hole gathered gas and dust into a swirling spiral that became our galaxy. The destroyer is also the mother. The monster is also the midwife of life. It is a paradox, but paradoxes are the language of the cosmos. And yet we still do not understand how such colossal black holes grow. Stellar black holes, born from collapsing stars, are easy enough to imagine. But how does something balloon to millions, even billions of solar masses? Did Sagittarius A star grow steadily, feeding on stars and gas for billions of years? Or was it born massive from the collapse of a primordial object in the infant universe? Each possibility is staggering. Each leaves us with more questions than answers. Perhaps the truth is stranger still, something beyond our current imagination, hidden in equations not yet written. But let's step back and consider something even more unnerving. If the heart of the Milky Way is a black hole, then where does the heart of the black hole lead? The event horizon marks the point of no return, but what lies beyond? For Einstein's equations, the answer is troubling: a singularity, a point of infinite density where time and space collapse. But infinities are red flags in physics, signs that our understanding has reached its limit. Could it be that what lies within is not a singularity at all, but another universe? Perhaps every black hole is a doorway, and our own universe began in the heart of another. In that case, Sagittarius A star may not be merely a local phenomenon. It may be a link in a cosmic chain, one universe giving birth to the next in an endless cycle of creation. If that is true, then entering the black hole is not an end, but a passage. A passage to where? To a newborn cosmos, its laws still forming, its stars unborn? Could an advanced civilization learn to navigate such doorways, to travel not only through space, but between universes themselves? It sounds like fantasy, but then again, once, so did black holes themselves. And here lies another possibility, one even more haunting. What if black holes are conscious? Not in the way we are, with thoughts and feelings, but as vast processes of awareness, slow and incomprehensible. After all, they process information. They store the imprints of everything they swallow. They shape reality on a galactic scale. Could it be that in some sense, Sagittarius A star is alive? That the heart of the Milky Way is not merely matter and gravity, but mind? If so, then the galaxy itself may be more than a home. It may be a being, and we its thoughts, fleeting sparks of curiosity within a cosmic brain. But even if such speculation stretches beyond science, the reality remains profound. To look at the Milky Way in the night sky is to see not just stars, but history, destiny, and perhaps something greater. That glowing river of light is the view from inside, the perspective of residents staring at the walls of their cosmic city. We are not outsiders peering in. We are participants caught in the orbit of a mystery larger than imagination.
Still, humanity is restless. We do not want to remain participants forever. We want to become explorers. And so we dream of ships that can cross the void, of engines that bend space-time, of civilizations that thrive among the stars. The journey to the galactic center may be centuries away, but already it lives in our imagination. In science fiction, countless tales speak of voyages into the core, of civilizations hidden there, of secrets buried in the black hole's shadow. Perhaps these stories are not just fantasy. Perhaps they are rehearsals, myths in the making, preparing us for the day we finally set course for the heart. But there is danger in myth, for the black hole is not a gentle teacher. It is not forgiving. The radiation alone could kill unprotected explorers in seconds. The tidal forces could stretch and tear even the strongest of ships. To venture close requires technology we do not yet possess, knowledge we have not yet earned. And yet perhaps that is the point. The black hole is not meant to be approached by the careless. It is a riddle demanding respect, a puzzle that punishes arrogance. To reach it, we must grow, not only in science, but in wisdom. And perhaps in that sense, the journey to the heart of the Milky Way is also the journey of humanity itself. Each step forward, each discovery, is not just about stars and galaxies. It is about us, who we are, where we come from, and where we are going. The black hole is our mirror. In its darkness, we see our own questions reflected. In its silence, we hear our own longing echoed back. So we continue. The spiral arms carry us inward, the bulge surround us, the core blazes ahead. Each orbit, each cycle brings us closer, not in distance perhaps, but in understanding. And though we may never stand on the very edge, though we may never cross the horizon, we are already on the journey. For to ask the question is to begin the voyage, and to dream of the heart is to hear its call. But now the story twists again. For what if Sagittarius A star is not unique? What if scattered across the universe there are countless hearts, each beating at the center of its own galaxy? What if the cosmos itself is a vast organism, each galaxy a cell, each black hole a nucleus, each one part of a structure too vast for us to comprehend? If that is true, then the heart of the Milky Way is not just our heart, it is part of something greater, something infinite, something alive. If every galaxy has a black hole at its core, then the universe itself is a cathedral of hearts, each beating in silence, each guiding the dance of billions of stars. The Milky Way is only one note in this vast symphony, its rhythm dictated by Sagittarius A star. And yet, for us, this note is everything. It is the sound of our home, the pulse of our existence, the center of the story we are trying to understand. But here lies a terrifying thought. Black holes merge, galaxies collide, their central hearts drawn together like magnets, spiraling into each other in a violent embrace. When they merge, the fabric of space-time itself quakes. The collision releases more energy in seconds than all the stars of the galaxy will emit in their entire lifetimes. It is a cosmic cataclysm, and yet, paradoxically, it is also creation. For out of the collision, a new galaxy is born, a new shape carved into the universe, and at its center, a new black hole, even larger, even more powerful. This is the destiny of the Milky Way. In 4 billion years, we will collide with our sister, the Andromeda Galaxy. To the human scale, this is unimaginably far away. But to the galaxy, it is already happening. And when it does, Sagittarius A star will meet Andromeda's central black hole in a dance of destruction and rebirth. The night sky will be rewritten, spirals twisting, stars colliding, clusters torn apart.
To our descendants, if any survive, the heavens will blaze with spectacle. And at the center of it all, two monsters merging, forging a new heart for a new galaxy. But perhaps the greater question is not what will happen in billions of years, but what has already happened. The Milky Way itself is a graveyard of past collisions. Streams of stars torn from smaller galaxies prove it. Ancient globular clusters may be relics of swallowed systems. And Sagittarius A star, could it itself be the product of a merger long forgotten? A survivor of countless cosmic duels, each collision adding to its mass, each battle hidden behind the curtain of time. If so, then the heart of the Milky Way carries scars we cannot yet see, scars etched into the very structure of space. And yet, as destructive as these collisions are, they may also be the engines of growth. Without them, the galaxy might remain small, stagnant, lifeless. It is the violence that gives the Milky Way its grandeur. Just as forests need fire to renew, galaxies need collision to evolve. The heart of the Milky Way is not only a monster, it is the result of billions of years of cosmic struggle. We live in the aftermath of battles fought long before Earth was born. But here is where the mystery deepens. If black holes merge, what happens to their information? If each one is a vault, a library of everything it has consumed, then when they collide, do their libraries combine? Do they erase each other? Or do they create something new, a deeper code written into space-time itself? Some physicists argue that nothing is ever truly lost, that the universe preserves information like a memory that can never be erased. If so, then Sagittarius A star may contain not just the history of our galaxy, but the memories of others, devoured in ages past. To study it is to study not just ourselves, but countless worlds, countless stars, countless stories. It is the archive of eternity, hidden in silence. And what of us? Humanity is fragile, but ambitious. We build telescopes to see further, detectors to hear the faint ripples of gravitational waves. We map the stars, trace their orbits, and search for patterns. Already, we are learning to listen to the heartbeat of Sagittarius A star, to hear its whispers in radiation, to glimpse its shape in captured images. And yet, we are only at the beginning. Imagine what we might know in 1,000 years, in 1,000,000 years. Imagine standing on a world orbiting a star far closer to the center, seeing the black hole not as a faint radio source, but as a blazing reality in the sky. Would we fear it, worship it, or learn to use it? For some scientists believe black holes could be harnessed. Matter falling into them releases unimaginable energy, more efficient than any engine we could build. A civilization advanced enough could surround a black hole with structures to capture this power, fueling itself for millions of years. This is no longer mere fantasy, it is theory. In fact, it may already exist. If alien civilizations live near their galactic centers, perhaps they have learned to tame their monsters, to transform destruction into sustenance. If so, then Sagittarius A star may not be empty at all. It may be ringed with structures we cannot yet detect, built by beings who mastered the heart long before us. And if they are there, what do they think of us? Do they see us as primitive, stumbling children, staring into the abyss with wide eyes? Do they wait for us to grow, to prove ourselves worthy of joining them? Or are they silent because silence is mercy? Because to know too much, too soon, would destroy us? These are questions without answers, and yet they haunt us because they touch on the deepest paradox. The galactic heart may be both cradle and grave, beacon and barrier, creator, and destroyer. Still, one truth remains. Whether or not others wait for us, whether or not answers lie beyond the horizon, the black hole is the center of our story. Without it, there is no galaxy. Without it, there is no Earth. Without it, there is no us. To ignore it is to ignore our origin. To study it is to study ourselves. And so we return again and again with telescopes, with questions, with dreams. The Milky Way turns, the stars orbit, time flows, and always, at the center, the heart beats, silent and eternal. Perhaps one day we will finally reach it, step across the edge, and see what lies within. Or perhaps we will remain forever outside, drawn but never touching, like moths circling a flame. Either way, the journey itself defines us. For to be human is to long for the heart of the unknown. The further we push toward the galactic center, the more our perspective begins to change. We began by looking outward, studying the sky as wanderers gazing at distant stars. But now, as we contemplate the black hole, the spiral arms, the collisions and the storms, we realize something startling. The Milky Way is not an object we inhabit. It is a living story, and we are one of its chapters. The galaxy does not merely surround us, it shapes us, defines us, breathes us into existence. And at the core of that story, the black hole waits. Sagittarius A is not just a monster lurking in shadows. It is a paradoxical engine of order, a gravitational anchor around which every star, every planet, every orbit is drawn. Without it, the spiral would unravel, the stars would scatter, the galaxy would dissolve. In this sense, the black hole is both the executioner and the architect. It destroys, but it also holds everything together. It is the ultimate contradiction, death and life in one. But perhaps this paradox is not unique to the galaxy. Perhaps it is the very nature of the universe itself. Everywhere we look, opposites entwine, chaos and order, creation and destruction, expansion and collapse. The black hole is simply the clearest expression of this eternal dance. It is the place where boundaries blur, where physics itself bends, where reality is forced to reveal its hidden layers. To approach the black hole is to approach the truth that the universe is not simple, not singular, but a symphony of contradictions playing in harmony. And yet, even as we contemplate this harmony, danger lurks. The galactic center is a battlefield, and the soldiers are stars. Binary systems are common, pairs of stars locked together, orbiting one another in an eternal waltz. But in the core, those waltzes are often disrupted. Gravity from the black hole and from nearby stars tear them apart. One star may be captured by the black hole, while the other is hurled outward at blistering speeds, becoming a hypervelocity star. Imagine it, a sun like ours, ripped from its orbit and flung into intergalactic space, doomed to wander alone for billions of years. These stellar refugees are real, and they remind us of the raw power of the heart. But it is not only stars that suffer. Whole star clusters are pulled apart, their members scattered like leaves in a storm. Giant molecular clouds, vast nurseries of star formation are shredded, igniting bursts of creation before being consumed. Even planets may not be safe. A planet orbiting a star near the core could be torn away, left drifting through the void. And yet in this destruction, there is always creation. The black hole tears down, but the galaxy builds anew. The cycle repeats endlessly, and the story continues. But what if the story has layers we cannot see? Consider this. Black holes may not simply swallow matter, they may transform it. Some physicists believe that as matter approaches the event horizon, it is encoded, imprinted on the surface like data on a cosmic hard drive.
If true, then nothing is truly lost. Everything the black hole consumes is preserved in some form, hidden but eternal. Imagine what this means. Sagittarius A may contain the information of countless stars, countless planets, perhaps even civilizations long gone. It may be the ultimate archive, the memory of the Milky Way itself. If one day we could unlock that memory, we might learn not only the story of our galaxy, but the stories of countless worlds we will never see. And what of time? The closer we come to the black hole, the stranger time becomes. For a traveler approaching the event horizon, time slows relative to the outside universe. To them, moments pass normally, but to a distant observer, they appear frozen, stretched across eternity. The paradox is chilling. From one perspective, the fall is swift. From another, it never ends. What does this mean for the future? Could civilizations one day use black holes as time machines, sending messages across millennia by orbiting close to the horizon? Could Sagittarius A itself be a gateway not only in space, but in time? And if so, has someone already used it? The possibility is unsettling. If advanced civilizations exist, perhaps they have already learned to manipulate black holes, to live near them, to harness their strange temporal properties. Perhaps the heart of the Milky Way is not silent at all, but alive with activity we cannot yet perceive, hidden beyond dimensions we cannot yet access. Our instruments see radiation, flares, orbits, but perhaps there are signals buried within, patterns waiting to be recognized. Could it be that Sagittarius A itself is speaking in a language of gravity and time, and we simply have not yet learned to listen? Even if such speculation feels like myth, the science alone is staggering. The black hole is surrounded by structures of gas and dust, twisted by magnetic fields into filaments that stretch for light years. These filaments glow in radio waves, strange thread-like marks across the sky. Some align in mysterious ways, forming patterns that defy chance. What causes them? Turbulence, magnetism, or something we do not yet grasp? The center of the galaxy is a canvas of enigmas, each one daring us to decipher its code. And still, the myths persist. Ancient peoples may not have known of black holes, but they knew of thresholds, of doors between worlds, of places where the ordinary breaks into the extraordinary. The galactic center, hidden behind dust, glowing faintly as a band across the sky, was always a symbol. Now, science reveals that the symbol was real. The heart of the Milky Way is a threshold. Whether it leads to destruction, to creation, or to something beyond both, we cannot yet say. But the threshold exists, and it calls to us. And so the journey continues. Humanity, fragile and young, stands on the shores of a galactic ocean, staring toward the horizon where Sagittarius A waits. We do not yet have the ships, the technology, the knowledge to sail there, but we have begun the voyage nonetheless, with questions, with dreams, with telescopes that act as our first sails. One day, perhaps, our descendants will complete the journey, standing on the edge of the abyss, staring into the heart. And whether they find silence, or truth, or infinity, they will know this: the journey itself was the destination. To seek is to live. To question is to be human. And in the silence of the galactic heart, humanity may finally hear its own echo. What if the black hole at the heart of the Milky Way is not only the center of our galaxy, but the center of our fate? For billions of years, Sagittarius A star has shaped the orbits of stars, the distribution of gas, the very architecture of the spiral arms. But in ways subtle and profound, it may have shaped us as well. For without the galaxy's structure, without its rhythm of creation and destruction, our sun may never have been born. Our Earth may never have formed. Life itself may never have appeared. To understand the black hole is to understand why we exist at all. And yet, As much as it defines us, it also defies us. The event horizon is the ultimate boundary, the wall at the edge of knowledge. Once crossed, nothing returns. Not light, not matter, not information. Or so we once thought. But modern physics complicates the story. Stephen Hawking showed that black holes are not completely black. They radiate faint particles, known as Hawking radiation, slowly evaporating over time. If true, then even giants like Sagittarius A star will one day vanish, dissolving into nothingness. But what happens to the information they contain? Is it destroyed, preserved, transformed? This information paradox remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in science, a puzzle that may hold the key to uniting quantum mechanics with general relativity. The answer, hidden in the darkness, could unlock the deepest truths of the universe. And this is what makes the galactic center so captivating. It is not simply a destination in space, it is a destination in knowledge. To understand it is to step closer to the theory of everything, the elusive formula that explains reality itself. Could it be that the heart of the Milky Way is not only our gravitational anchor, but our intellectual one? That the answers we seek about time, space, matter, and energy all converge here in the silence of Sagittarius A star. But there is another possibility, one far stranger, one far older than science itself, that the galactic center is a place of consciousness. Some philosophers have wondered whether black holes might be cosmic minds, slow and vast, processing information on scales we cannot comprehend. If true, then the heart of the Milky Way is not silent, it is thinking. What does it think about? Perhaps it thinks of us, or perhaps we are thoughts within it, flickers of awareness inside its vast and timeless dream. It is an idea as old as myth that the cosmos is alive and we are part of it. Even if such ideas stretch the imagination, the reality is no less astonishing. For in the galactic center, time and space are warped beyond recognition. Gravity bends light into arcs and rings, creating mirages of stars behind the black hole. If we could see it close up, the sky would be a kaleidoscope, stars smeared and distorted, reality folded like paper. To approach Sagittarius A star would be to step into a hall of mirrors, where every view is doubled, twisted, refracted, beauty and terror intertwined. And then there are eruptions. Though Sagittarius A star is quiet now, it was not always so. Evidence suggests that millions of years ago, it flared violently, unleashing jets of energy that carved vast structures in the sky. These Fermi bubbles, colossal balloons of gamma radiation, still rise above and below the galactic plane, ghosts of an ancient outburst. If such a flare erupted today, the consequences for Earth could be catastrophic. Radiation could strip atmospheres, sterilize worlds, erase civilizations. Perhaps it has already done so elsewhere in the galaxy, wiping away life before it could take root. If so, then our existence is not only fragile, but improbable, a gift born in a rare lull of silence. But silence is not eternal. One day, Sagittarius A star may wake again. A passing star, a drifting gas cloud, a collision of black holes could ignite it, transforming the quiet center into a blazing beacon. What would that mean for us? Would we survive the storm? Or would our story end in light, burned away by the very heart that gave us life? It is a question without answer, a reminder that we are forever at the mercy of forces we cannot control. But perhaps that is what makes the journey worthwhile. For in the face of such vastness, such danger, such mystery, humanity chooses not to hide, but to seek. We build instruments to peer through the dust. We launch telescopes into orbit. We capture the first images of black holes, transforming the invisible into the visible. Piece by piece, we chip away at the darkness, daring to understand what was once forbidden. It is the same drive that pushed us across oceans, that sent us to the moon, that now whispers of Mars and beyond. The black hole is not an obstacle, it is an invitation, a challenge written in gravity itself. And so the myths return, renewed by science. To the ancients, the Milky Way was the road of souls, the path to eternity. Now we know it is the path to Sagittarius A star, the ultimate destination. The parallel is haunting. Both science and myth agree that the heart is a threshold, a place where one world ends and another begins. Whether that other world is heaven, underworld, or alternate universe, we cannot yet say. But the symbolism is clear. To journey to the galactic center is to confront the unknown, to face death, to seek rebirth. It is the archetypal quest, written not in stories, but in stars. And perhaps that is why we are drawn to it. The heart of the Milky Way is not simply an astronomical object, it is a mirror of the human spirit, silent, powerful, unfathomable, yet irresistible. It challenges us, frightens us, inspires us, and though we may never reach it physically, we are already there in thought, in imagination, in the stories we tell. For to imagine is to begin the journey, and the journey itself may be the destination. Still, we must ask, what if the black hole is not the end of the story? What if, beyond the horizon, something waits, a universe within a universe, a truth beyond truth? Or perhaps the greatest revelation of all, that the heart of the Milky Way is not separate from us, but part of us. That we carry it within us, in our atoms, in our memories, in our dreams. For we are made of stardust, and the stars are made of galaxies, and the galaxies are made of hearts. What if the heart of the Milky Way is more than a place? It is a destiny. For billions of years, it has waited, silent and patient, while stars are born and die, while galaxies collide and merge, while civilizations rise and vanish like sparks in the wind. And yet, through it all, Sagittarius A endures. To some, it is a monster. To others, it is a mystery. But to us, perhaps, it is an invitation to confront the limits of knowledge, to test the edge of existence, to ask the ultimate question, what lies beyond? The ancients, staring up at the band of light across the sky, sensed the power of the galactic center. They filled it with myths of gods, spirits, and underworlds. But now, with telescopes and mathematics, we begin to see it for what it is. A black hole 4 million times the mass of the Sun, holding our galaxy together. Yet in a strange way, the ancients were not wrong. For to them, the center was the place of endings and beginnings, of death and rebirth. And that is exactly what the black hole is. A place where stars die, but where galaxies live. A place where time ends, but where destiny begins. But what happens if we truly approach it? Imagine a spacecraft built in some distant future, venturing closer to Sagittarius A. At first, the crew would see stars distorted, their light bent into arcs by gravity. Time outside the ship would seem to accelerate, centuries passing in the blink of an eye. As they near the horizon, the sky would transform into a whirlpool of fire, the accretion disk blazing as matter falls inward. Then, at the edge comes the choice, to turn away or to cross. To cross is to step into the unknown, to vanish from our universe,
to enter a place where physics breaks and mystery begins. But perhaps this is not the end. Some theories suggest that what lies beyond a black hole is not annihilation, but a white hole, the opposite of a black hole, a place where matter is expelled rather than consumed. If so, then the journey through Sagittarius A might not be destruction, but passage. Passage to another part of the cosmos. Passage to another universe entirely. Could it be that the black hole is not a tomb, but a tunnel? That the heart of the Milky Way is a gateway, waiting for those daring enough to cross? And if that is true, then we must ask, has anyone crossed before us? Civilizations far older than ours may have already faced the same questions, built the same ships, made the same journey. Perhaps they ventured into their galactic hearts and never returned. Or perhaps they did return, changed, transformed, carrying knowledge we cannot yet imagine. Could the myths of gods descending from the sky, of beings crossing from one world to another, be echoes of such journeys? Could our oldest stories be the shadows of encounters with travelers who mastered the heart long before us? Still, the danger is immense. To venture too close is to risk spaghettification, the stretching of bodies and ships into threads of atoms. Radiation could fry circuits, sterilize cells, obliterate minds. Even the best shields might not withstand the storm. And yet danger has never stopped explorers. Mountains, oceans, deserts, all were once thought impassable, but humanity crossed them. Perhaps one day we will cross the galactic abyss as well. But perhaps we already have in another way. For every time we look at the night sky, every time we dream of the stars, every time we ask the question, what lies at the center, we are already on the journey. The black hole may be unreachable by ships for now, but it is already within our minds. It shapes our imagination as much as it shapes our galaxy. To dream of Sagittarius A is to hear its call, faint but unyielding, across the silence of space. And that call grows louder as we learn more. We have seen the first images of black holes, glowing rings around shadows of nothingness. We have detected gravitational waves, the ripples of space itself, trembling from distant collisions. We are on the edge of understanding, the edge of sight, the edge of hearing. Soon we may map the galactic center in detail, capturing its storms, its flares, its hidden structures. And with each discovery, the mystery deepens. The more we know, the more we realize how little we understand. But this is the essence of exploration. To seek not because answers are easy, but because they are hard. To confront the unknown, not because it welcomes us, but because it resists us. The galactic heart is the greatest unknown of all, and so it is our greatest challenge. One day we will accept that challenge, not as conquerors, but as seekers. For to seek is to live, to turn away is to die. And perhaps in the end, the black hole is not our enemy, not our doom, but our teacher. A silent teacher, yes, but one whose lessons are written in gravity and light, in death and rebirth, in paradox and mystery. To study it is to learn not only about the universe, but about ourselves. For we too are contradictions. We are fragile, yet we endure. We are tiny, yet we dream of infinity. We are mortal, yet we seek eternity. And in this, we are not so different from the galaxy itself. So the journey continues, through myths and science, through fear and wonder, through destruction and creation. We are drawn ever inward toward the heart. Whether we reach it in ships or only in thought, the journey matters. For the heart of the Milky Way is also the heart of humanity, the symbol of our curiosity, our courage, our hunger for the infinite. And as long as we dream, we are already on our way.
Picture the galaxy not as a flat spiral, but as a vast, three-dimensional organism. From a distance, it resembles a cosmic whirlpool, yes, but when seen in detail, the Milky Way is more like a living structure, with arms that twist and breathe, with streams that flow, with a core that pulses like a heart. And at its center, Sagittarius A star sits, not silent, but resonant, sending ripples across space-time itself. It is not simply the heart of the Milky Way, it is the drumbeat of the galaxy, and we are all dancing to its rhythm, whether we know it or not. But as we listen closer, we realize something extraordinary. The Milky Way is not alone. Across the cosmos, countless galaxies swirl, each with its own black hole at the center, each with its own rhythm. Are they connected? Do their beats align, like instruments in a cosmic orchestra? When two galaxies collide, do their black holes merge, not only in gravity, but in song, adding their voices to the universe's chorus? And if so, could it be that the entire cosmos is alive with music we cannot yet hear? Music written not in sound, but in gravity? This is not fantasy. With instruments like LIGO and Virgo, we have begun to detect gravitational waves, ripples in space-time from distant black hole mergers. These waves pass through us silently, stretching and squeezing reality itself, subtle yet profound. Imagine, the universe trembles, and we tremble with it, without even knowing. Each ripple is a note, each collision a chord, each wave a whisper of the universe's hidden symphony. And the heart of the Milky Way may one day join this music, when it collides with Andromeda's heart in a dance of unimaginable scale. But beyond music lies memory. If black holes preserve the information of everything they consume, then Sagittarius A star may be more than a gravitational anchor. It may be a library, a record of stars, planets, perhaps even civilizations swallowed by time. Could we one day learn to read this library? Could we decode the holographic patterns imprinted on the horizon, unlocking the history of the galaxy itself? Imagine standing at the edge of Sagittarius A star, and in its silence, hearing the voices of stars long dead, the echoes of worlds long gone, the secrets of billions of years. The black hole would not be destruction, it would be memory. And perhaps memory is the truest form of immortality. But memory comes at a cost. To approach too close is to risk annihilation. The tidal forces stretch and tear. The radiation burns and blinds. The event horizon swallows all. But even here, paradox reigns. For while an outside observer sees the traveler frozen at the edge, to the traveler, the fall is swift and final. Two truths, both real, both irreconcilable. Time itself becomes subjective, relative, personal. What does that mean for existence? Could the black hole be showing us that reality is not absolute, but a tapestry woven from perspectives, each valid, each incomplete? If so, then the heart of the Milky Way is not just a place, it is a lesson that truth itself may be larger than any single view. And here myth and science intertwine again. Ancient cultures saw the Milky Way as a bridge between worlds, a path for souls, a road to eternity. Science tells us the same thing in different words, for the galactic center is indeed a bridge between physics and philosophy, between destruction and creation, between what we know and what we cannot yet imagine. It is the ultimate threshold, and thresholds are always sacred. To cross them is to change forever. But perhaps the most haunting thought of all is this: what if the galaxy itself is aware, not in the way a human is aware, but in the way a system is aware? Billions of stars orbiting a central heart, billions of planets swirling in gravitational harmony, countless cycles of birth and death, all coordinated, all shaped by the black hole. Could this be a form of awareness, a cosmic self, vast and slow, thinking not in seconds but in eons? If so, then Sagittarius A star is not simply the galaxy's heart, it is its mind. And we, small and fragile, are thoughts within it, brief sparks in a consciousness far greater than our own. Speculation? Yes, but speculation is the seed of discovery. Every great leap begins with a question that seems impossible. Once, black holes themselves were fantasies, dismissed as absurd. Now, we know they are real, central, essential. Who is to say that the next leap will not reveal that galaxies themselves are alive, that the universe itself is conscious, that Sagittarius A star is not only a place, but a being? The line between myth and science grows thin in the presence of such enormity. And so the journey continues, through dust and stars, through collisions and flares, through myth and mathematics, we are drawn inward. The black hole does not speak, yet it speaks through us, through our questions, our dreams, our hunger to know. It has no voice, yet it inspires 1,000 voices. It has no eyes, yet it reflects our gaze. In its silence, it teaches us what it means to seek. In its darkness, it reveals the light of our curiosity. And perhaps one day, when we finally reach it, we will find not an end, but a beginning. Perhaps the horizon is not a wall, but a doorway. Perhaps the heart of the Milky Way is not the death of meaning, but the birth of it. And when that moment comes, when humanity stands at the edge staring into the abyss, we may finally understand the galaxy's heart has always been our own.
What if the black hole at the heart of the Milky Way is not just the end of stars, but the birthplace of stories? For as long as humans have existed, we've looked into the night sky and woven meaning into its light. Every culture, every civilization saw something sacred in that band of stars we call the Milky Way. They could not see Sagittarius A star, but they felt it. They sensed that in the middle of that glowing river lay a secret, a threshold, a place where the world we know dissolves into the unknown. And perhaps they were right, for the black hole is a story as much as it is an object. It is the story of gravity made visible, the story of paradox embodied, the story of endings that are also beginnings. It is myth, science, philosophy, and dream fused into one. To journey there is not only to travel through space, it is to travel through imagination itself. But beyond imagination lies inevitability. For in 4 billion years, when the Milky Way collides with Andromeda, Sagittarius A star will no longer be alone. Its counterpart in Andromeda, itself millions of solar masses, will spiral toward it. Their collision will shake space-time, sending gravitational waves rippling across the universe. When they merge, a new black hole will be born, tens of millions of times the mass of our Sun. The galaxy we know will be gone, replaced by a new form, a new heart, a new destiny. What will that mean for Earth if it survives? The night sky will blaze with new constellations, spirals of stars colliding, clouds of gas igniting, fireworks of supernovae exploding. It will be a vision both terrifying and magnificent, a spectacle beyond comprehension. To future beings who watch it, it will be a reminder: galaxies are not eternal. They live, they grow, they change, they die. Even the Milky Way will not last forever. And yet, through it all, the heart endures. But even before that far-off day, the black hole already writes destiny in more subtle ways. Consider the hypervelocity stars, those exiled suns flung from the galactic core by gravitational slingshots. Some of these stars race faster than 1,000 kilometers per second, fast enough to escape the galaxy entirely. They will wander intergalactic space, alone, carrying with them the fingerprints of their origin. Could life exist on planets around such a star? Could entire civilizations be launched into the void, cast adrift by the heart's violent embrace? If so, then the black hole does not only shape the galaxy, it seeds the universe. And then there is the question of time. If Sagittarius A star evaporates through Hawking radiation, what becomes of us? The process would take trillions upon trillions of years, far longer than the life of any star. But in the end, even black holes may vanish. The universe would be left dark, empty, silent, with only faint whispers of radiation lingering in the void. Is this the final fate of everything? Or could the black hole's death be the spark of something new, the birth of another cosmos, another cycle, another story? If so, then the universe is not dying, it is recycling. And Sagittarius A star, quiet now, may one day give birth to infinities. And here is a thought even stranger. What if black holes are not rare, but fundamental? What if the universe itself is built from them, nested within them, spiraling endlessly from one to the next? Perhaps our entire cosmos is inside a black hole, born in another universe, and within Sagittarius A star lies another universe waiting to be born. Reality may be a chain without beginning or end, each link a black hole, each black hole a womb disguised as a tomb. If true, then the heart of the Milky Way is not just local, it is eternal. And still, we are drawn closer. We build telescopes like the Event Horizon Telescope, stretching across the Earth to capture the first images of the unseeable. We dream of future instruments that will map the galactic center in detail, that will detect the whispers of gravitational waves, that will one day see the black hole's surface with clarity. Piece by piece, the darkness is revealed. Piece by piece, the heart begins to beat in our vision. But vision is not enough. One day, perhaps, we will go ourselves, whether in ships of steel, or in ships of thought, or in ships of light. We will seek the heart not only with eyes, but with presence. We will stand at the edge of the abyss and stare into the horizon, knowing that to cross is to vanish, but to turn away is to surrender. What choice will we make? Perhaps both. Some will fall, seeking answers in the unknown. Others will remain, carrying the story back. And both will be right. For the black hole demands both courage and caution, both wonder and wisdom. And so, the story of the galaxy is the story of us, fragile beings of dust, staring at infinity, daring to ask questions no one can answer. And yet, that is our power. For though we are small, though we are brief, we are the ones who can imagine the heart. We are the ones who can tell its story. We are the ones who can hear its silence and translate it into meaning. And perhaps in the end, that is what the heart of the Milky Way truly is. Not a place, not an object, but a mirror of the human spirit. A spirit that longs for the infinite, that fears the unknown, that seeks the truth no matter the cost. For in its darkness, we see ourselves. In its silence, we hear our own heartbeat. And in its mystery, we find our destiny. Imagine for a moment the very last day of the universe. Stars have burned out, galaxies have faded into embers. Even black holes, once eternal in our minds, are slowly evaporating through Hawking radiation. In that unimaginable future, Sagittarius A will be one of the last giants standing, radiating faint whispers into the void as it shrinks into nothing. And yet, perhaps in that nothing lies the seed of everything. Perhaps the final sigh of a black hole is not an end, but the spark of a new cosmos, a new Big Bang, a new chance for life to rise again. If so, then the heart of the Milky Way is not simply the center of our galaxy, it is part of an infinite cycle, an eternal heartbeat that bridges universes. But we live not in that distant end, but in the fragile present. Here, the black hole is quiet. Here, the galaxy spins in balance. Here, we stand on Earth, staring up at the stars, asking questions. And in this moment, Sagittarius A shapes our fate in ways both subtle and profound, for its silence may be the reason we exist. If it were more active, blasting jets of radiation across the galaxy, Earth's surface might have been sterilized long before life could evolve. Our fragile world is possible only because the monster sleeps. We live in the pause between breaths, in the calm between storms. Life itself may be nothing more than a brief reprieve granted by the slumber of the galactic heart. And yet this reprieve is temporary. The black hole stirs from time to time, releasing flares of energy, whispering reminders of its hunger. One day it will feed again, on a star, a gas cloud, or perhaps another black hole. When it does, the galaxy will feel it. Ripples will spread, echoes will linger, and we will be reminded of what lies at the center: power beyond comprehension, silence louder than any roar, darkness brighter than any fire. Still, we return to it. With telescopes, with equations, with dreams, we stare into the abyss. Why? Perhaps because in its paradox, we see ourselves. The black hole is fragile and eternal, terrifying and beautiful, destructive and creative, all at once. So are we. The heart of the Milky Way is not just out there in the sky. It is within us, reflected in our contradictions, in our hunger for meaning, in our refusal to turn away from mystery. But here is where the story takes its most profound turn. What if the journey to the galactic center is not about travel at all? What if it is about perspective? Each time we imagine Sagittarius A, each time we ask what lies beyond the horizon, we are already closer. The black hole is not simply a destination in space, it is a destination in thought. To contemplate it is to step outside the boundaries of the ordinary, to peer into infinity, to confront the limits of knowledge. And in doing so, we cross the horizon, not physically, but spiritually, intellectually, imaginatively. We become more than what we were. And perhaps this is the true gift of the black hole. Not answers, but questions. Not certainty, but wonder. It reminds us that the universe is larger than our minds can grasp, and yet our minds reach anyway. It shows us that reality is stranger than we dare to believe, and yet we believe anyway. It teaches us that endings may be beginnings, that silence may be meaning in disguise, that darkness may be light in disguise. So we continue, not because we will arrive, but because the journey itself transforms us. To speak of Sagittarius A is to speak of ourselves. To dream of the heart of the Milky Way is to awaken the heart within. And that, perhaps, is the greatest revelation, that the black hole is not separate from us, but part of us. We are made of the galaxy. We are shaped by its rhythms. We are children of its dust, heirs of its gravity, seekers of its mystery. One day, humanity, or whatever we become, may truly approach the horizon. We may orbit its edge, study its secrets, dare its pull. We may fall, willingly, into the abyss, not as victims, but as explorers. And when that day comes, when we finally meet the heart face to face, perhaps we will not find terror. Perhaps we will find truth. And the truth may be this, that the heart of the Milky Way has always been our own heartbeat, magnified across the stars. That the silence of the black hole has always been our own questions, waiting for answers. That the darkness at the center has always been our own curiosity, infinite and unquenchable. The journey does not end at the black hole. The journey begins with it.
We have traveled far, from the spiral arms where our sun was born, across clusters and streams, through collisions and myths, into the blazing chaos of the galactic bulge, and finally to the silent abyss of Sagittarius A star. Along the way, we have asked questions that pierce the boundaries of science and slip into the realm of philosophy. We have stared into darkness and found reflections of ourselves. And now, at the journey's end, we stand at the threshold, gazing into the horizon of the black hole, knowing we cannot cross without being changed forever. What have we learned? That the galaxy is alive with cycles of creation and destruction, that the black hole is both cradle and grave, that endings are beginnings in disguise, that the heart of the Milky Way is not simply a monster, but a paradox, an entity that destroys yet sustains, that silences yet speaks, that hides yet reveals. We have learned that to study the galactic center is to study ourselves, fragile beings of dust, yet bold enough to imagine infinity. And yet, the greatest lesson may be this: the black hole is not the final answer. It is the eternal question. It is the riddle written in gravity, the silence that dares us to speak, the darkness that challenges us to see. To stand before it is to admit our limits and to defy them. For though the horizon forbids us entry, we cross it in imagination, in curiosity, in dreams. And in doing so, we fulfill the deepest part of our humanity. Perhaps one day, far in the future, our descendants will reach the galactic center in ships of unimaginable design. Perhaps they will orbit the abyss, study its secrets, even harness its power. Perhaps they will cross the horizon itself, vanishing into a new universe, carrying with them the story of Earth, of humanity, of us. And perhaps in that moment, they will realize what we realize now, that the journey was never about reaching the heart, but about hearing its call. For the heart of the Milky Way beats not only in the sky, but within us. In every question we ask, in every dream we dare, in every story we tell. It beats in the myths of the ancients and the equations of the scientists. It beats in the silence of the night sky and the roar of our imagination. It beats because we exist, and we exist because it beats. And so, the journey does not end here. It never ends. For as long as we wonder, as long as we dream, as long as we look up at the band of stars and whisper, "What lies at the center?" we are still on the path. The black hole calls, and we answer, not with fear, but with awe, not with despair, but with hope, not with silence, but with story. The heart of the Milky Way is not only the heart of our galaxy, it is the heart of our destiny. And though we may never cross its horizon, we already live within its story. For we are the children of the galaxy, the seekers of the heart, the dreamers of infinity. And in our dreams, the heart beats forever.